All right, thank you for joining us. This is the Black Diamond Authority podcast. We are here to give you enlightenment on anything that you're looking into for the gaming, the art, and just an entrepreneur as a whole through the Black experience. Definitely stay tuned. We are here with a great group of individuals, but I'll start with myself. So my name is Amos Hobson, the owner, founder, and creator of Black Diamond Authority. Multiple years of experience of business and in the art field, about 20 to add it up. And my main goal for this entity is to give minorities a platform to shine and show out where they would normally be hindered for their Black excellence or minority excellence, POC, whatever you might want to identify as, and get you your recognition that you deserve. The 5-year plan is to be a global sensation worldwide, taking pieces and ideas from the company where you can see us on TV or you can hear us on the radio or you can go out to an event and enjoy what we have created for the consumption of the viewers and the audience, but also to have good pride and confidence in what we created for the public. And with that, that's what we're here to do. That's what we're striving for. And for sure, with this team that I have put together, you would definitely not be disappointed. With our first individual, we have J. Rick here.
What's going on, guys? It's Jarek. I also go by One Soul on YouTube. I'm happy to be a part of the company. Happy to be working with you.
For sure.
A little bit about me. I have my own merchandising design company called Reversible LLC. I went to school and have studied art for about 20 years myself. My passions lie in creating clothing brands, comic books, and illustrations. And right now, I'm just looking forward to seeing how much farther we can take this company and see how much building we can do.
For sure. Then we have Treon Fisher.
Oh, Jesus. Hey, my name is Treon. Online, I guess I go by first name basis. That's the thing that I put for everything that I use. Honestly, I'm at a real difficult point in my life where my passions kind of lie in technology, and that's where I'm trying to get at. But I got pulled on by my friend Amos. I've known him since high school. He's trying to get me on to do pretty much whatever I can. If I wanted to do clothing line, that's a thing that he's trying to do. That's where I'm going to put my foot in at for video game. And if I still wanted to do that, he's giving me the opportunity to put my foot in with that. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just kind of trying to get something going and stop doing nothing with my life.
That's what's up.
Sure. And then we have our special guest here, Kid Shogun.
Yes, indeed. My name's Elton Fight. I am the owner, operator of Kid Shogun, which is a merch, apparel, and comic book original brand. We're all about just kind of, making video games and fashion and gaming gear and nerddom, fandom all come together under one particular umbrella, which is the Kid Shogun brand. And we're excited to be a part of this podcast today, and excited to be working with Black Diamond Authority and helping it to realize its goals as well, because we all working together to make the end game work. So let's get it.
As Kid Shogun said himself, for services and products, we are comparable to, surprisingly to my knowledge, Disney when it comes to the lot of streams of services and products we have, from, clothing lines, which was already mentioned, to like just being an event planners, to storefront retail, anything when it comes to the film industry as well, when it comes to stuff like on YouTube or even stuff bigger that might be on Netflix in a few years from now. The goal is to hit all major notes for content, period. And the goal is to make sure everything is positive and beneficial to all that participate, support it, and join it. And that's kind of what Black Diamond Authority is made for, is positive content for minorities worldwide. Yet again, I'm definitely excited to have the group here today. But for sure, end goal is for our company with you home to be able to interact and see us come up from literally individuals like yourself to being household names that you help build to this day. So we definitely appreciate you, and we can't wait to show up and show out. All right, we'll be taking a quick break. See you soon.
All right, to begin with the podcast going forward, Amos, because Black Diamond Authority is something new and wants to be integrated into so much, where did the idea come from?
Gotcha. So the idea came from me being just a raw artist where I didn't know where to find where I was going to be compensated for the supplies that I'm buying, the support that I needed to know if my art was even worth anything, and then also get that reassurance from other individuals that's not families or friends that don't want to hurt my feelings to know what I'm doing is worth attention.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So when I thought about it all, I kind of broke down to how could I establish something where those metrics can be kind of measured in a realistic way, but not like boring numbers, statistics way. It's more of a, I could see my art selling because I do this, but if I do this instead, people really not feeling it. Mm-hmm. And going that way, the whole trial and error, even though it's time consuming, it helps you figure out what kind of artist you can be or what you want to be. And with that kind of helped me formulate Black Diamond Authority. And as I kind of got into one thing, I figured I kind of want to try this out, and it started to slowly grow into, man, I kind of want to see what this will look like. And then I had artists reaching out, seeing if they could join.
Okay.
And then at that point, I was like, do I want employees or do I want team where we're all talented in our separate rights, but together we're like an unbeatable army? And that's kind of the feeling that I want. I want everyone to be cold at what they do so they don't have to piggyback off of the same thing. I don't want 40 digital artists. I want people who could do a little bit of everything. And that's kind of what the business is about.
So how important to you is it that representation really makes up the bulk of your company? Is it so big for you that that's how it's organically built, or is it something that you think just should come over time, or is it important to you at all?
It's important. I would say diversity first, because when I applied for art roles, I was always the black token there, having to kind of stay in a certain mold. I couldn't really express myself too much, and it was just feeling like I might as well work at a fast food or a retail or something else instead of doing my passion. So diversity is always first, because I want diversity in talent, but I also want diversity in who we're bringing in. I don't want, just one zip code or one following or one belief all being a part of a company, because that's a little stale. I kind of want to learn from my teammates, my employees, coworkers. I feel like everything should be a learning experience.
Very good. So that being said, what is your 5-year plan going forward?
5 years is definitely a lot of time to kind of break into a lot of things I kind of have on the list. Like the clothing line is going to be like my main child for the time being for this year, because it takes a lot to get a good one up, and then it takes just as long to show up and promote it, expose it, and kind of get a good following. So for sure, year one is definitely clothing line, keeping this podcast active so people can have a good way to know what's going on behind the scenes with us. And then we do have a few events that we kind of want to create as well. So within those kind of 5 years, I kind of want to see those main 3 things kind of be what we're known for.
Gotcha. So with things like the clothing line in general, are like collaborations important for you too? Because I know like Kid Shogun, you have a clothing line as well, right? So how does that go for you?
It's going pretty good. Of course, within our startup in 2020, our first piece was to introduce our characters, if you will, through the clothing line, because ultimately the goal is to, of course, realize a comic book series that will branch out into being maybe a film or maybe some, video series or something like that. But collaboration is a big piece of everything. The clothing line part is just kind of like the mechanism that introduces everybody to the brand, everybody to the comic book and whatnot. And so all characters that we have and everything will be represented on the clothing brand as well as in the comic book and whatever other media that'll be out there. But very important for collaboration.
Very nice. Very nice.
You know, I honestly thought that when it came to clothing line and merchandise, that it was like the opposite. So, however, let's say you got your comic book going up first, the merchandise is there to kind of like profit off of something that somebody already knows. I never really thought about it as like the introducing people to bring them in to look at the comic book.
Right. Yeah.
That's a pretty.
So that's a good way to do it. Honestly, I like it that way. It's different.
Just flip it a little bit. I mean, that's innovation gets the biggest reward. You know what I mean? You got to kind of strike out there and just do it differently sometimes because sometimes the formula can become stale. To take the word that Amos used earlier, but it's just. You never know, man. Throw a whole bunch of things at the wall and see what sticks, man. You know what I mean?
I was thinking that for the longest when Amos had told me about the clothing line last year in November. I was like, Texas got winter in January, so I'm gonna bother the shit out of you about getting the clothing line out because people need winter clothes. And you got some dope ass designs, so I'll be like, look, can we put that on some clothes or something?
For sure. Yeah.
Kind of in the same vein, I created hoodies for characters I created for a comic book series, and I just couldn't get that comic book off the ground the way I wanted to. I was like, man, if I have these characters, is there something like unique I can do with them? So I came up with a card game that I'm hopefully going to talk about at some point in time. But I feel like that's another way, kind of like you said, clothing line first to reintroduce the comic book. There's so many other outlets that if you get people invested into the thing that you want to put out there first, you keep that audience coming back. There's so many other avenues that people will kind of follow you through. So I think that's a good idea.
No, for
That's
sure.
great.
Definitely.
I can't wait to hear about the card game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm bad at card games, but I like fucking playing card games.
For sure. No, I agree.
And with the clothing too, it's advertising in itself too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because
100%.
they're wearing it, right, and then they might get a question from somebody who's into anime or what have you. You'd be like, hey, what is that? And then that begins another conversation. Oh yeah, man, I was at this convention and expo or whatnot, and there was this really cool booth where they had these characters and everything. This is and so it's one of them ways to create that advertisement to where everybody becomes a walking advertisement for
sure.
if you will.
I agree. That's definitely the goal we're going for sure, for the clothing line. Definitely get a lot of people just showing out with it and just having just the same idea. Just we like it, we love it. You should wear it also.
For real.
Just keep it just very simple.
So what is your format for the clothing line? Do you just come up with ideas and then slowly roll them out? Do you have like submissions for how you want to do that? How do you have your company go about getting new designs for clothing?
Gotcha. So with me, I'm a big what's the word I'm looking for? I'm a big believer of loyalty, which kind of segues to individuals like his Shogun that ever show support, love, or ever helped us out on any level when it came to growing up the business. I always like to do a kickback or an opportunity. So for the clothing line, there's about, I think, 38 individuals like his Shogun here today that I'm giving them an opportunity to design certain designs that they want to see for the collaboration, which will be the phase one. Get their designs, and we'll work the designs around the clothing compared to doing it the other way around. That way, if you have a design that's very widespread, let's do it on the hoodie and wrap it around from the front to the back. That way you get like a full visual experience with this design, so it's not cheated or shorted if you shrunk it down and just tie it on top of a shirt or a hoodie. We kind of want to not limit the design, but we can work around it with the fabrics. So we're doing it that way. It's our way of showing appreciation, but it's also a way of getting it to being bigger than just us. It's everybody's clothing line at that point, because they're just as invested as we are, because they want to see their stuff out there shown and supported just like we do. And at that point, we just tag team and everyone gets the exposure they're looking for, either if it's through more sales or more just clicks on what Kid Shogun's doing or what anyone else a part of the collaboration's doing. just to see if it's like, I like his art, not feeling the shirt, but I want to see what else he does. And he can always just account that for the clothing line. And that's kind of what I'm starting off for the first part of the formatting. Everything else is still kind of touch and go, but I'm liking that idea more because there's lots of synergy in it, and it's still focusing on what the company's about, which is collaboration and unity for sure, first most.
So I know that it's a big trigger word now, and even in 2023, but back in 2020, when COVID first started up, we had everybody coming out of the wazoo starting companies of their own, especially with clothing lines and things like that, because everybody had a lot of free time on their hands. So I guess a big question would be, what is your company going to do that sets your stuff apart from everybody else's that helps make it successful, whether it be what platforms you sell it on or the materials that you use, but that separates it in a way that makes people come along and say, hey, this is what I want compared to what somebody else might be offering.
Gotcha. So my best answer to that is leaning towards what any of the collaborations doing naturally. So for example, Kid Shogun does a lot of streaming. So I would let that flow through naturally for him. He's already doing streaming. So if it's something along the lines of Black Diamond Authority sponsored this episode and he's showing off some of the shirts, then it's natural for both sides. Y'all know we're doing the clothing. Y'all are already familiar with him doing the streaming, so it's not weird. Like, you can't tell that it's forced or it's scheduled. It flows naturally. And then with that being said, with all the artist collaborations with that many, I believe it's 38, with that many individuals promoting the same clothing line, that organic traffic flow already kind of sets it apart, because it's not 38 people randomly, it's 38 business owners promoting the same thing, which will catch a lot of attention. No matter what the algorithm is, there's no way it can't ignore that much support on one thing. And I'm trying to use that extra push to make sure everyone sees what we're offering, so we're not missing anybody for that first release.
Oh, very nice, very nice. And you said you've been working with Amos for a while now, so back, it was 2020 when you first introduced the idea for the clothing line?
I've known Amos since high school, but last November,
It's crazy. The year's
last
almost
November,
up. Yeah.
he kind of just threw it out there as one of the things that he wanted to do. And I kind of stuck to it because my mom at home has also been doing her own clothes and stuff. She has her own heat press and stuff, and she does crafts and stuff. So I was like, yeah, it'd be nice to get clothes to the big niggas out there like me, because why we can't get clothes for nothing. They're if we get them, they expensive. So if I'm gonna spend $100 on a fucking t-shirt,
Right.
I want to at least be a dope ass t-shirt that I can get it from, or something that I can wear that I'd be, hey, yo, this is a nice ass shirt, not just this black shirt that I'm wearing right now. This shit cost me $80, bro. Come on now.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, that's the goal. We're just want to make just good quality products and just let the supporters kind of just promote it naturally. We don't want it to feel forced. That way the reviews are just super organic and natural.
I believe in that organic growth, man, because that's one of the, not to throw shade on anybody.
For sure.
Would never throw shade, not a hater, none of that. But, first thing when people start making moves to, have a business, the first thing they do on Facebook, Instagram, is they share it to their family and friends.
Yep.
That's the first thing they do, because they're like, I got 250 families and friends. Boom, they do that, right? Yeah. And organically, that particular strategy doesn't help, because of course that's your family, your friends. So of course they're gonna be like, hell yeah, I like it. Yeah. And then unfortunately, sometimes your family and your friends, they don't turn into customers. They don't turn into supporters. You know what I mean? And so the organic growth pattern is really what you should be trying to do. So if you got to start off from zero, hell, I got, let's see, on IG it's 160 people. But that 160 people are actually really interested in what we deliver. Right. You know what I mean? And so it's going to continue to grow from there, right? But, if I had 160 family and friends, I started out with 160 family and friends, I could potentially stay at 160 family and friends. So I got some growth. Everybody's got growth to do on Instagram and whatever else. But, think about different ways to grow your following. Rather than just, putting your family and friends on the spot to like some stuff that they might not really fuck with.
Fair. Very
I
fair.
had some family and friends that kind of, "Try, man, what you think about this?" And I'm like, I mean, it's nice. Like, you don't, I'm too honest. You don't, a lot of people don't want to hear the honesty. And so I just,
Sure. Don't twist my arm on it. Just
it's good. You never hear me talking about it again, but it's,
I wouldn't buy it though. I'm not gonna buy it.
you want the truth of the lie.
Yeah.
right. For sure.
So you definitely mentioned clothing, and for sure, my bad, I don't know where you're stumbling over things. I had that out.
No, you're fine.
But no, you definitely mentioned the clothing line. But what else are you looking to offer through Black Diamond Authority?
I definitely kind of want to bring some family-oriented stuff together. So art classes is definitely on the queue. That's where I kind of started my art experience, period, was just going to local community convention centers, whatever it may be, doing art classes. And that's when I kind of found the love for it. So I kind of want to do the same thing and kind of push it forward. So I kind of want to offer art classes before whatever you're interested in, for whatever age group. And then, of course, like everyone's finding out that's real popular is like the adult classes, the sip and paint classes and stuff along those lines. There's lots of good following for it, good ways to meet good and interesting people. And then you still get to do what you want to do, which is the art at the end of the day. So that's definitely something I'm kind of looking out for to figure out when's a good time to start that and how I want to do it.
You said sip and paint. Can I come and just sip?
I'll make sure I pull up a chair for you.
Yeah.
I don't think you can mention art in a group setting like this without mentioning things like comic books, for instance. So I know everybody got a favorite comic book?
Yes. Yes. I am a big fan of the Uncanny X-Men series. Very classic. You got to see Wolverine and all his trauma. You got to see Professor X actually be an OG and not what he is in the movies. And you get to see Storm actually do some cool stuff compared to just showing up and getting one-shotted.
Yeah.
In the movie. So it's kind of nice. And then it's cool that they hold value even to this day. I think one of my older comics, I think, runs for like $6.50 now.
Wow.
So still gonna hold it to see if it goes higher. But
For sure.
We're
don't
going to
want
talk.
We're going to bring that one the next time.
Telling you, for sure.
Yeah. For me, man, with the comics, for me, of course, X-Men is legit as hell. But I also got into the Image comics too, with
Nice.
Spawn, there you go.
Gen, I think it was Gen 13 was the one with the lady team or whatnot, doing what they do. And Image Comics had a really good run there when they came out because they were being a little bit more graphic with everything. They were showing a little bit more blood because, you can't have Spawn without the blood and talking about hell and all this kind of stuff. So for me, I would say the Spawn series really kept my attention, but also, you can't knock the X-Men. X-Men is the shit.
For sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Spawn black?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
That's what. I remember talking about Soul Calibur. We got to talking about Spawn, and it was like, and the Spawn used to be black. I said he used to be black.
Used to be. What you mean used to be?
He is black. He just got the suit. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But also another one, man, that my pops introduced me to was one called Brother Man. And you look that one up, Brother Man. It started out in Dallas, Texas.
Nice.
And it started out in the 1990s, and it was black owned, and it still is black owned.
Nice.
And that one there, man, really opened the door for realization that you too, as a black kid, can have something like this, right? And so shout out to Brother Man Comics for doing what y'all did in the 90s, and they got a IG thing going on too. But Brother Man too had a big part to play in just my interest in comic books and everything as well.
No, very valid. Nice. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
Man, I hate the idea of tokenism in comics because I like the idea of original characters, but you have all the characters kind of like, for instance, Miles Morales, the Spider-Man. Granted, I think that is actually a great representation of how you do that the correct way.
For sure.
But then you have other examples where people just take up the mantle and say, oh yeah, we put a black person as this character. And I feel like there's not enough stories that represent who we are as a people.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Black Panther, iconic. Iconic for what he did for Marvel, iconic what he did for the people. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Love
For
that
sure.
man.
Peace.
But as an African American man,
Not the book.
I can't really relate to
yeah.
the African experience the same way. And so I know the stories are great in representing our people, but it doesn't kind of hit the same notes as it would say now Simmons would for Spawn or Miles Morales would for Spider-Man. And so I like to see that diversity has come and changed some things as time has gone and we've become more progressive.
I just realized that your jersey is Wakanda.
Oh yeah, Wakanda
Oh,
forever.
yeah, I seen that. I seen that all the time. I was like, okay. I was like,
You said what
that's
your
a
favorite
great
comic
idea.
was already?
Oh yeah, my favorite comic. I read so much. The New 52 run of Batman is probably my favorite. Favorite comic.
Fair.
Okay, yeah. I don't remember too much. My memory is here and there. I pretty much remember the things that I do every day. And I don't read.
He said, I got comics just for
I
the pictures.
watch people on YouTube. I don't know if I can say, but they pretty much read me the comics. But when I started learning about comic book Black Panther and comic book Storm, those are the two dopest motherfuckers.
Yes.
Yo, yes.
Storm is ridiculous, and they do her dirty in whatever they put her in. New comics, games, they do the old. Well, from what I used to hear, what I saw, old Storm was pretty much like Black Panther in terms of like got their powers from a god, but Storm is ridiculously strong.
Oh,
She should not be getting whooped in these movies and TV shows and comics that we see. Not at all. She's ridiculous.
Yeah,
For sure.
Love Halle Berry, but Halle Berry, you ain't Storm, baby. That's not true. That's a hot
Catwoman
take.
either.
That's a hot take right
Sure,
there.
hot take. I
Y'all
feel
might
the
not,
sizzle.
they might not feel that one, but Halle Berry, come on now.
Was she
Nah.
Catwoman?
She was also Catwoman. Yeah.
Catwoman
Yeah,
too.
can we get that one back?
Yeah, just a little bit more.
That was
yeah.
nice. Can we get her as Catwoman? Can we just plop her into Catwoman and it just works?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you're looking to sponsor writers and things like that, what are things that you're looking for when creating comics under the BDA brand?
So I'm looking for obviously originality, but I like to hear what their goal was originally. So I don't want like, yeah, I have a comic idea, and then it's like, so what you do with it? Oh, I've just been sitting on it. I'm like, well, have you did the art for it? Well, I was gonna get to it, but then, I wanted to hang out with friends, and then, I look up and it's 30 years later. Like to me, I kind of want someone as hungry for greatness as I am, and I know it's a tall order to look for, but self-motivation is very rare to find nowadays. With kind of how life is kind of being ran now, people can choose to work from home. They don't got to really do too much extra work nowadays, and that also kind of reflects in people's mentality. So if the individual isn't passionate about what they're bringing to me, how can I be passionate about it? Period.
Exactly.
It has to be mutual, but obviously it's not my story. So eventually my eyes will go to another project because we got a lot of stuff to take care of. And if you're only hanging out with my motivation, we're going to keep stopping when I stop. And then nothing gets done. So motivation is the main thing. And then if they're willing to be teachable. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. But if you're not willing to take experienced advice, then there's nothing I can offer you. I'm not going to tell you what you should change in your story, but I can tell you how you should move with your story. It's not going to always be black and white where, yeah, I can just promote it online and I'm going to get all the exposure I want. Your story might only work better in person. You never know. And it kind of takes someone who's been in the game for a while to give you those suggestions or those strategies. And if you're not willing to give it a shot or try it out, then nothing's going to change for you. So that's my main things. I'm looking for self-motivation, coachable, and definitely just that passion.
That's good.
You're now tuned into the Black Diamond Authority podcast. Pardon us while we go to a little break. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back to the Black Diamond Authority podcast. For our next topic, we're going to discuss video games and the landscape of it. So, Kid Shogun, a couple questions for you. What are your initial thoughts on the current state of video games right now?
Currently, well, first off, you know what I mean, I like to always date myself as far as, you know, how far and how long I've been gaming, man. So I've been gaming since like 1987. Right? It was, yeah.
I thought it was, I see the beard. I was like,
1987, man. It was Nintendo Entertainment System, you know, nice. Mario, Mike Tyson, Punch Out, the whole thing, right? And to watch just the, you know, the growth and the progression from video games from then to now has been nothing short of spectacular. Because I can remember even, you know, seeing my uncles having like the Ataris and stuff like that, you know, going to visit him. And seeing that, you know, from that Atari to Nintendo was a major leap. Then you got Nintendo to Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, another major leap going 8-bit to 16. Then you got that to the PlayStation and to what we got now, right? So the current state of video games is definitely in a good way at the moment. My only question really for video games is, you know, how far can you really take it being the way that we play games now? Right, from the console to like this, right? Mm-hmm. At what point do we maybe want to see something different when it comes to video gaming, right? I often think about like, you know, the holodeck from Star Trek or something like that, right? And I see that as being the next frontier to where you can actually maybe even outfit your crib with like a holodeck room or some crazy shit like that, right? So right now though, with video games, I'm pleased. I've been actually I was on a hiatus before COVID on video games. My brother will tell you. And then when Google Stadia came out, right, that was my re-emergence back into my love of video games. And then so since from then, because Stadia had the ability for you to stream and all that kind of stuff, so I got into streaming with that, and then of course with the kids that I work with and everything. And so from there to now, you know, I got back into video games, got into streaming, and so now I'm looking to stream. It's kind of therapeutic, you know what I mean? I'm able to play the games I like, and so the state of gaming, as I see it right now, is in a good spot. You got esports, people making, you know, millions of dollars, you know, playing games, man. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, and at the time, video games, you know, when I was coming up, you know, video games was always seen as like, you know, just a hobby, or it was something that wasn't going to turn out to nothing, right? Yeah. So you never really, you know, really took the time to get really, really great at a game, right? Like my game of choice is Street Fighter, right? So we would go to the local convenience store, pop in them quarters, boom, 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 and play until, you know, nightfall or whatever, or, you know, more people come up or what have you. But now, you know, with people having the ability to have it at home, people are, you know, becoming experts at the crib, training, doing all that kind of stuff so they can be on the esports team and make bank. And then, you know, I'm looking at that, I'm like, damn, we was on to something, man. Playing Tecmo Bowl all them hours, you know what I'm saying? Playing Double Dragon all them hours, and then your folks would be like, "Nah, get y'all ass outside." And you're like, now people making millions of dollars playing video games. So I think it's in a great spot. It's lucrative for businesses to pay attention to it.
For sure.
It's lucrative for people to, you know, make a career out of it. And it's just overall, it's still fun, and it's still great to watch technology advance how it has. So it's in a good spot, as I feel. Yeah.
What you think, Drill?
Those are for me. Collect my thoughts. Okay, so I know why you chose Google Stadia, but I want to personally. I'm a fucking negative Nancy over here,
Go
right?
for it.
But when I saw Google Stadia, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Obviously, streaming video games has a certain kind of iffiness to it because of latency, mainly, and stuff like that. But like, considering the things that I'm pretty sure you heard about. So you say you heard about Stadia. Mm-hmm. How was it for you actually like playing? I never played Stadia because I didn't trust it. Obviously, it would have been good for me to do it because I don't really got that much money. I can't really buy that many games. Yeah. So for me to get in, it would have been good for me to get into it because I wouldn't have to invest into a fucking $600 console and stuff like that.
That was it. Yeah.
I never did though because I didn't trust it, and I mean it's dying now, and so. But like, what made you commit to that? Really?
Look, man, let me tell you this here, right? So not to turn this into a Google Stadia talk or TED talk.
No, we here.
but like my folks will tell you, man, I went whole hog on that study. I was trying to convert people and everything, right? When it first came out, I was like, hey man, y'all gotta do this, man. This is the next thing, man. You know what I mean? But when you talk about gaming experience, bro, it's no different than having a console. As long as your internet is up to speed, right? If your internet's up to speed, you're just gonna be just like you got a Xbox,
like
PlayStation
right
in the room with you. Like I didn't lose I didn't have no drops. I was not late. It was so there was no lagging or anything like that. It was like I was playing on a console.
Okay.
And the great thing about that was, of course, as like I said, I took a hiatus and everything. But the great thing about it was that I was able to try out streaming because I didn't have to have a console. I didn't have to have the bridge to set the console into and connect it to a computer and all that kind of stuff. So it made a great bridge for me to get back into it and then do what I love to do and have fun doing now with the streaming and connecting that with the clothing and all that kind of stuff. So, it was a great thing, and it's closing down on Wednesday, and people are doing memorials and all kinds of shit online. It's wild, man. People got memorials going on. They doing one last hurrah games and plays and stuff like that. So I plan to jump in and see what they're doing. But yeah, man, that's it.
I'll tell you what, that kind of stuff is actually really cool. There was as a mini side note, see, whenever something shuts down like that, and you got all the people kind of getting together in chat rooms inside the game, the last time online and stuff like that. Anytime you see that, you got the old Fantasy Star Online, you got old MMOs, you got old fighting games, you got old Discord, you got all that. It's so cool. It's unfortunate that it has to die to see it. But when you see it, it's like, damn. There's like all these people gathered into this one area inside the video game or inside the Discord, and we're all just like, fuck, it's not going to be here. But it's cool to see everybody here.
Yeah. You said a word, Fantasy Star Online, man. That's wild.
I tried so hard to get into that at one point. It's the old, but
was one for you with the Dreamcast? Did you play on Dreamcast?
Yeah,
man.
I'm 26, and my parents usually only bought me old consoles.
Yeah.
So I'm dated as a mentally, I think, kind of like an older gamer, but obviously I'm 26, but I can't afford all this shit. So I got the N64, the Sega Genesis, the Dreamcast. Dreamcast is my favorite console. I love me some Sonic.
Sonic Adventure, right?
Hey,
there it is.
God damn it, bro. Can I get my Sonic Adventure 3,
Please, bring it.
Play Sonic Frontiers?
It might be the closest thing we get to it for a long time. It was pretty good.
Looks
Frontiers
so.
it was
nice.
A little quip about Sonic. The people need to kind of get their shit together about the story, because the story for Sonic Frontiers is actually like really good. Not only compared to Sonic, what was the last one?
Forces, I think. Was
Yeah, Forces is shit. But the story for Forces was like, but in terms of the story for Frontiers, it's like really good. In my opinion, these are opinions. I heard that they said that they're trying to take Frontiers' story and kind of move with that to keep some continuity. Because right now, Sonic really ain't got no continuity.
Right.
We had generations, we had colors. It was just pieced different. So right now they're trying to take that and run with it. I hope they do. But when Kid Shogun has said about having entire rooms dedicated to streaming or to video games, VR, obviously.
VR, of course, yes.
Just to share a little story, me and Amos went to in 2019 when we was Pokemon Go and this shit. In Austin, Texas, there's the Domain, a place called the Domain, and they got Microsoft stores, Apple stores, a bunch of different stores. Like, it's a really cool place. There was a Microsoft store at that time that had their streaming, the Oculus set up. So we was at the time he gamed less than I did, or I guess I could say he kept up with the games part less than I did, but he had more opportunities to play than I did. I kept up with it more, so I was like, Oculus, let's go play, because I ain't got the money to do that. Let's do it. So when he got into it, he got out. He was trying to hold his composure. He was sweating. He came out. We played Robo Recall. He was sweating. He came. He was like, "Man, hey, look, It ain't that good, but it's good. that's I think about that shit all the time. I want to get VR because it's so fun actually being in there and seeing it like that. That's the only time I ever actually got to do VR. That and the exercise benefits. Because when I got out there, bitch, I was sweating. So that's where I'm trying to be able to, like, have you throwing it back to anybody, really?
Can we talk VR? Because I've got a lot of stories about VR.
That's what I'm saying.
Ooh,
Like,
let's talk some VR.
Like,
All right.
what we thinking? Like, what's y'all do VR setups, VR rooms? What?
So I got into VR. Well, I'll take it back a step further because we talked about streaming and whatnot. Have y'all heard of GeForce Now? Yeah. So I got back into streaming before Stadia in a series called GeForce Now done by NVIDIA. And it was cool for what it was. It showed the really early signs of what streaming could look like for video games. Because I'm a big PC builder. I PC build. I play on just about everything. Yeah, so that's my life. So what I always wanted to do was build something that would last for a long time, help with artwork, and just be able to do my everyday things because I edit and I do things like that. Yeah. But eventually, as the VR landscape started to come out as well, I invested into it heavily. And in college, as a matter of fact, I bought the Oculus Rift CV1, and it came with all the fucking stands and stuff like that before you had all the cameras and whatnot. Yeah. And you had to buy the controllers separately, and it was. But when I went to school, art was still evolving to the point to where new media just wasn't fully accepted into what was going on in the curriculum. So I decided, hey, it's one of those things that's new and different. So I bought all the headsets. I bought a laptop specifically for it, and I painted in VR. So I used Google's Tilt Brush. Yeah. And when I tell you that the applications for it are just phenomenal, it's enormous just how much stuff you can do with it. From there, I invested in the next one? The Rift S. I have both, the Quest 1 and 2. My uncle who actually got me into it, I tried his HTC Vive, so I've tried all of them. And so I've seen the progression of how things go. And I think that eventually we're going to get to that point to where, like you said, the holodeck and stuff, we'll get there. Microsoft had the HoloLens, which does augmented reality, which is the next bridge between the two gaps. And I think if we can do that, that's the next evolution of art. And I know we haven't touched on the segment yet, but I know AI and things like that, introducing more computers into art, I think, is what's going to progress what we do as a people, as a community.
Have you guys seen those this clothing line that utilizes like AI on its design?
Oh wow!
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And it's real simple designs, but like if you use your phone while looking at the design that's on the shirt or whatever, the damn shirt moves, like the design moves and jumps out at you or whatever, right?
Can I see what is it?
Lit.
Can I look it up? What is it?
I forget what the name of it is, but I'll look it up. I think I'll follow it.
That sounds dope.
It's ill. It's real ill, man. It's just like, that's just, pushing the limits even further, you know what I mean? And, to talk about art, being and stuff like, with the AI stuff, with the AR stuff, sorry, walking around with that on, like, imagine, having a Black Diamond Authority billboard that's, in real life is static, right? Mm-hmm. But you got this augmented reality shit on, and that shit just move, right? And it's just, flowing and flexing in all kind of ways, right? So it's looking up. It's looking up for all things technology, digital, video, you name it.
And form factor for everything is getting so much smaller and so much more accessible for people, which is so much better for being able to make sure that things get pushed forward, which is really good.
It was just a tiny quip. I mean, I don't even know the about the VR and painting. I don't remember specifically which virtual reality thing it was, but I remember seeing something where you could actually use your hands inside I'm gonna call it a situation. I think it was experimental. You still had to have like the 4 cameras in your room and the headset, but instead of you having the controllers like we do now, we have really good controllers. I think it's Oculus or the Quest Pro 2 controllers. Mm-hmm. Those are apparently like really good, but something that I saw was that you were able to use your hands inside the VR space. So it was mainly for painting. There were no games. Mm-hmm. So, use your hands to paint and stuff like that inside the area the same way that you said for the Google one. And I thought that was sick. I haven't really seen anything for it since. Yeah. But, I mean, we getting there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just, you know, I don't want to get to the point of where we're like cyberpunk. That's gonna be dystopian. That's real bad. Apparently, cyberpunk was created by a black man. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere somebody said either the first book or the concept was a black dude, and the game was inspired by the black dude, and they talked to him about it for the game and shit like that, whatever. But I don't want us to get to that point, because that point sounds like real, you know, terrible. If you don't have health insurance,
They already don't want to pay for stuff. They're not going to pay for you to implant no chip in you. They ain't going to pay for no prosthetics. You know what I mean? They ain't going to pay for none of that, man.
For sure.
So like with everything, when it takes off, markets become saturated. So streaming, what platforms are you looking at using when you stream?
When I stream, I only know one, which is YouTube right now.
Okay.
And I mean, I like YouTube's interface. I'm of course exploring it more, getting to know more about it, reading the analytics and understanding more about how you can become a YouTube partner and, you know, monetization and all that kind of stuff. Because, you know, mind you, you know, YouTube, like everything, like every business, started off as just a place where, hey, if you're doing some videos, throw it up here.
Exactly, yeah.
Put it up here. Didn't nobody think about, like, you know, I'm going to be YouTube famous, or I'm going to be, you know, this and that. And so it's really evolved to where now, you know, that's people's, like, income, like, all the way, right?
Right.
And so, you know, for me right now, YouTube is my streaming platform of choice. But I am aware to, you know, Twitch and, you know, that space as well. And I've seen a lot of people, you know, realize their dream to be a Twitch affiliate and, you know, finally hit that monetization point to where they can get paid for doing it and all that. And so, you know, right now it's YouTube, but I mean, of course, staying open to everything else. But, you know, I'm trying to get as educated as I can on the YouTube economy situation.
YouTube is kind of where you want to be with it, because I'm terminally online. You don't want to be terminally online, but there's some shit that you hear about Twitch, and it's a huge fucking mess. At least once a year, Twitch does something fucking ridiculous. And when it comes to discoverability, that was a huge problem for the last 2-3 years for minority people. But I think you're doing good. So at least learn on YouTube, because YouTube is it's everywhere. If you want to find it, it's going to be there. If someone searches it, it's going to show up.
So with that being said, can you speak on the grind? I know from personal experience, I started my YouTube channel in 2017. The whole premise was like skits and gaming and things like that. And my goal within the first year was to have 1,000 subscribers, which I thought was easy. And I learned the hard way. But it's about networking, getting to know your fans, learning the analytics, SEOs, management, all that stuff.
It's a fucking game.
It is a game. And so what are some of the things that you've learned, that you've been implementing, that you've seen that has worked for you so far?
For me, it's been, you know, learning the hashtag game. The descriptions. The title of your videos matter, you know what I mean? And also too, you know, I'm looking at, like, you know, like I was saying, working in the Stadia environment, you know, made a lot of friends that way. But I've seen, you know, people who working with Stadia or whatnot, they've been on YouTube for years, playing video games and doing that kind of stuff. And so you got to understand that it's not just like you're going to pop on, bam, I'm streaming, hey, let's go, and you're going to get that 1,000 right away, because there's a lot of work that goes into it. You got to, of course, like you said, know about the SEO. You've got to look at your analytics, know when people are actually watching your videos, what times, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, how long they watching it for, the durations of that. And you got to understand that, because that'll tell you how long your videos need to be, you know. And then, of course, don't make it to where you feel like you're an island and you got to do it all on yourself. You know what I mean? It's that networking piece. It's like, you know, seeing what everybody else is doing, and not to say copycat, but, you know, kind of emulate that and bring that into your own strategy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But, you know, it is a grind. It is a grind. It's a grind that you got to put in time, and you got to give the quality of content. That's the piece right there. A lot of times people think that you can just pop on and, you know, I'm just streaming the game. That's not it. You got to be charismatic. You got to be passionate, and all of that. You know what I mean?
You got to be uniquely yourself too.
Yeah,
that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's it, man.
It's rough. As another thing that mostly minority people need to start. Well, I'd say in the last few years we have, since COVID hit, but like, talk to each other, network, play games with each other, make videos with each other. Because I was I was inside the Black Spirit YouTube for too long, not until recently. But he watches way more black YouTubers than I do. I was more on Twitch at the time. But it's like, now they do, you know, Burleezy, that's the only one I remember, right off the top of who.
Oh, got you. So you got like RDC, six-man squad, promotes and put other black streamers on. Then you got like Berlin or Burleezy, who does his own thing with Easy Gang, bringing on about 6-7 individual gamers on. And then you have AMP, even though they're right now going through possibly getting canceled.
AMP
But
Kai?
what's it, Kai? Yeah.
Okay.
They had about 8 or 9 different separate black, you know, streamers all come together and try to, you know, look out for each other, promote each other, and like, you know, go forward. And like, it didn't really happen till like probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It doesn't kick off the same way it does for everybody else unless we get together and we do stuff. Oh man, I can't remember his name. I remember, as I said, my memory's not that good. The guy who created the Billy Bounce, I forgot his name, but you looking at me like I'm crazy. Do y'all not remember this man?
I don't remember this man.
He made some funny ass videos. He makes skits. There was a guy called Nilesy that used to work with him. Okay, so they used to make videos together on Instagram all the time. You know, it didn't really kick off for us minority folk until we started doing stuff like that. And now we got all the groups. Like you said, RDC was another. He got a big ass group of people. But again, I don't remember all the names off the top of my head, but there's a lot of different big groups of people getting it together, doing it with their friends and stuff, getting it all. That's what we needed, and now we got it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny you bring up RDC. I went to college with them, as a matter of fact. So I got to see some of the times that they would like set up places, you know, to shoot some of their videos and whatnot, and it would inspire a lot of people to be like, hey, I think I could do that too. Actually, me and my friends thought we could do the same thing. So we might pop off too. But no, like you said, it takes, you know, the idea of being resilient and trying to see what works, what doesn't work, and staying consistent for one thing. Because a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then it doesn't work after the first few months, and then they drop off. And then if you're not consistent with it, you're never going to figure out what you need to do.
Right.
So having that passion.
If you stop doing it, you're back at zero again. You know what I'm saying? Because the momentum don't pick up when you stop and then you start again. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to go ahead and stay with it, stay in it, and make it, you know, hit that wall until you knock it down.
For sure.
Just keep on hitting that joint, man.
Stay with it for I mean, you know, you might have had the same 5 people, but it's the same 5
It's the
people
same
riding with you.
They still riding.
Yeah.
They still riding. You know. And one more thing I just want to add. For my people out there that's watching these people's videos, man, if you see yourself watching their videos more than 3 times in a month, go ahead and hit that damn subscribe button.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on and hit that subscribe button,
I feel like
man.
that's a good number.
Oh my God, dude, there are so many people that I know where I'm like, my parents, my friends, it was you for a little bit. I was like, bro, are we watching these people videos every day? Can you make an account and subscribe? Like the video, bro?
I will say the main reason why I was like that was in the beginning you didn't need to sign in for YouTube. So because if I had to subscribe, I had to make an account. I was like, I ain't trying to do it. I just want to watch the video, man.
Support these people,
But
bro.
now since you gotta make an account for sure, go ahead. Subscribe.
It helps us out. If you subscribe, you like the video.
You'll get to see it first. You don't have to be like, oh, I didn't know they dropped one last week. No, you got notified.
It
got
helps
notified.
us. It
You
helps
got
us
that
all
fast.
out. To know that you watch, you like it, you keep going.
Yeah.
Cause we all got them people outside of video game. We all got them videos that we go to for whatever kind of little more educational purpose or whatever, right? Whether it's crypto, whether it's cooking food or something. If you're going to them more than 3 times in a month, shit, go and give them a subscribe, man.
I pretty much like I had gotten into the habit, I don't know if it's a good or bad habit, but every single video I clicked on, I liked it first and then I watched it.
Yeah.
And if I didn't like it, I don't like it.
But it supports them.
Hey,
It's not-
I'll forget to like the
Sir,
video.
you are a gem if you're doing that.
I'll forget. If I like it, I'm like, damn, this is nice. And I'll just leave. I'll forget to like the video.
Yeah.
Because like for us, we got like 2,000 subscribers, but barely any likes at all. So it's
Right.
like I'm so conflicted. Like, should I tell them to just
You gotta
like it
remind
But then
these
it's
people.
also like, but I like the subscribers. So what's going on? So what
Hey,
should
yo,
I
we
choose?
deep into this video. Off rip, like the video. If you don't like it, unlike the video.
Yeah, it's like I want you to subscribe, but I want you to watch too.
Yeah,
I want you to really watch.
Yeah.
I'm filming this for a reason.
Don't come back.
Yeah.
So BDA is trying to have a conglomerate of YouTubers that are gamers, right? So
Yes.
tell us something about that.
So the goal is to, like we were saying earlier, help those individuals who might be missing what will get them noticed, or help them fill in the blank for them to be successful. And our job is to fill that void. So you might have chosen the right games, you might have the right charisma, you might be able to, be actually good at the game first try, but if you don't know how to promote it properly, it's useless. You're just going to be talking to that camera for years.
Yeah.
So our goal is to help you figure out what you're missing and get you kind of on I wouldn't say so much a regiment because it kind of sounds forced, but I would say kind of a structure of what to do for the situation of kind of, I guess you would say, making sure you're hitting your marks for success. So that's your subscribers going up, that's your likes, that's your retention coming in. That's obviously the benefit of a paycheck coming in from either us or from YouTube. And then the goal is to train up these, I believe right now we're looking for 6 in total. And once we find those perfect 6, to join the Esports team, which will be led by Treon towards the future, and pretty much get out there, travel, and do what you're already wanting to do, is be a gamer. But now you get to travel, participate in the esports for opportunities to win cash, travel, and network. It's one of those jobs where you can have fun and be professional at the same time. But we want you to be successful way beforehand, so you're not like stressed the whole time. And that's kind of what we're focusing on this year.
Very nice. So do you guys have about a timeline for about when you want to start the esports circuit?
I have no idea, honestly. I've been meaning to want to talk to Amos about it because as much as I've been terminally online and watching a bunch of different esports organizations come up and fall the fuck right back down.
For sure.
And it's a particular kind of esports organization that people have been doing has been just going up in flames. Like I don't know if you remember, y'all play Fortnite?
Yes.
Yeah.
So y'all used to watch Fortnite content a lot, maybe?
A little
Give or
bit,
take.
yeah.
Okay, so there was one guy that I remember off the top of my head. His name was Daquan.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Brooks?
I don't
Or
know
no?
his last name.
That's what's Brooks' name, yeah.
He was a popular Twitch streamer. He just went by Daquan.
Did he wear a do-rag?
Sometimes.
Yep, that's my
His,
boy.
his hairline is.
That's my boy.
Okay,
I
so-
got to see him at DreamCon this year. That's my boy.
So I forgot which esports org he was with. It was him and one other guy that I forgot, and Ninja Tyler, obviously, and a bunch of different people when Fortnite was really popping off. A big group of Fortnite streamers. I think it was TSM that they had recently made a house with.
Nice.
Streamer houses falling the fuck apart. You don't.
Wow.
Esports orgs, if you don't do it, I think 100 Thieves, I want to say,
I'm
they
familiar with
have
them.
a big esports building and they do all that shit there, but they're doing it right. I don't know what they do,
Yeah.
but they're not going up in flames like everybody else
Yeah.
is. I guess you don't want to do a streamer house. You got you a big
Yeah.
building that you do everything in.
Yeah.
You do your podcast. You got your, you go there, make your videos. You get the stream or do whatever you need, but you don't live there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, I guess, the problem was people living in the house was creating all the issues.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you definitely work to try and not, duplicate
Yeah,
that fault or whatnot.
doing
Got-
it
got-
is.
You got a heavy task ahead of you guys.
That's why
I'm
it
sure.
was like I don't know how to talk about it because
Yeah.
some work and some don't, and it's hard. But that's on that side. The other side is personally, as we said earlier, motivation is my issue, and I ain't got money for video games and shit like that. At one point, I wanted to make videos, and I don't. It's it's a lot.
To me, I mean, the main ideas I have to keep the team tight is treat it like a job first. So I wouldn't do a streaming house with 6 strangers that don't know each other from nothing. I feel like they should, quote unquote, clock in first to see what that synergy looks like.
Yeah.
And if it don't work, then we didn't waste the time doing what's the like Big Brother's house, pretty much.
Yeah.
Doing that type of situation
Right.
where you just got chaos. And it's better that way, in that way of just having, you do your own channels, and then the experiment would be the Unity channel of let's get them all together and we run through a lot of collaborative games together.
Yeah.
And that would be the make or break to see who goes, who stays, what works, what doesn't, and if it should work at all.
Usually,
And
it
then
works.
if it does work, then we figure out the best esports situation based on what they're like to play compared to what they want to play. And then in that situation, train them up for the upcoming contest. And I think doing it that way, one, they're still doing what they want to do. Two, if A and B don't like each other, but it's not a group don't like each other, then that's fine.
We'll figure it out.
Clock in, clock out, treat it like a job. Y'all ain't got to be best friends. But once it gets to a point where, you know, Treon, I could trust him on a first-person shooter, so yeah, let's do Call of Duty. It should be like, cool, I can lean on him where I can look out for people as he's taking majority of the shots. And it should be that type of synergy within and outside of the clock in. So that outside would be during the competitions, traveling out. So
That's
it's
a
one
good
of those
point.
things where if they don't know how to act right at home, which would be Black Diamond Authority, I sure can't trust them to act right in public when we go out into the competitions.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
So that'd be my way of betting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Quick mention for the streamers I mentioned earlier. I love all them people. I used to fucking binge watch all them folks.
Yeah.
It ain't no shade. It's just an example because
Yeah.
we all saw it. There was a lot of
No,
personal issues.
it's a lot of people don't
Yeah.
understand. Personalities are a very important thing
Yeah,
because, like, it works here because we all have a single goal. But when people don't share the same goals or they don't have at least the empathy enough to not step on your goals or
Yeah.
your dreams, you know, it always falls apart. It might not happen immediately, but down the road, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Black Diamond Authority podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you tune in next time.